You guys asked for my controller and camera settings, so I got you today. Full explanation. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see. Drop a comment down below. And without further ado, let's get into it. Preset, competitive. When you're playing champs, you're playing rivals, you cannot change this. It is stuck to competitive. You will see some grayed out settings. So auto shots, assisted headers, we cannot change those. Shot assistance, assisted, manual, precision, never using manual. Precision, it's a slightly less version of manual where you get a boost to your shot for properly aiming your left stick on target. You might ask, Yoshi, do you not know how to aim your left stick? Why are you on assisted? For me, when you're shooting from tight angles, you're shooting a long shot or a long finesse shot, precision's really not good in those cases. Assisted, much, much better. And if I'm shooting a simple shot, yes, we know shooting's inconsistent in this game. I shouldn't need a boost though if I'm, 6 yards out or if I'm making a side pass. Overall, with all of the different selections of shot you will take in a game, I think assisted is better, so I use it. You can try precision, but for me, assisted is the way to go. Timed, finishing, on. If you spam your shoot button, crossing in the ball, you're spamming it, a side pass, you're spamming, turn it off. If you don't know how to time your shots in general, just turn it off. If you know how to time your shot, put it on, green them. It boosts the chances of you scoring in certain situations by a little bit. So like long shots, tight angles, or if I'm just like outside the box and power up a nice shot, you'll see greening it will effectively increase the chances of me scoring. Flare pass, grayed out. Through pass, lob through pass, both are semi. There's not assisted for those. For the next three settings, assisted, assisted, assisted. Let the game help us. If the game wants to assist our passes, let it help us. Pass receiver lock, late, animation start, power up. I use late. What this means is when I push pass, I have up until my player makes contact with the ball to decide where I'm passing. Why is this good? Let's say the passing lane gets blocked off, it's going to be intercepted, my player goes off sides or something changes, I can adjust my pass at the last second. Pass sensitivity, normal. Sorry for the quick edit, the camera is cooked, but I use normal on this. Auto clearances, grayed out. Clearance assistance, directional or classic. This means when I clear the ball, directional will take into account where I'm aiming. I want to control where I'm clearing the ball to. If you panic or something like that, you can let the game do it for you. But for me, I want control of my clearance. I want to pick where the ball's going. So I'm using directional there. Jockey, grayed out, defending, tactical or advanced. I get this question a lot. Advanced allows you to get that shoulder, big body seal out animation or choose between that and a stand tackle. With tactical, the game decides for you. Personally, I don't really push tackle a lot. Typically, I would want to have the option to choose what my player's doing, but for me, tactical works. I'll let the game decide in certain circumstances, and overall, I think advanced is slightly overrated just because it's a new thing this year. Pass block assistance, on. What this means, I'm manually controlling a player, or even the AI, the ball comes close enough to them, will they stick their leg out and auto-intercept it? Keyword, auto. I'm there. The game wants to auto-intercept the pass for me if I'm close enough? Sounds good to me. The game wants to help me? Sounds good to me. We turn that one on. Now we get into the switching. There's a lot of choices here. I use air balls and loose balls. You can definitely try some of the other ones, see what you like. But again, for me, I use air balls and loose balls. Switching, move, assistance. None, low, and high. What this means, when I switch to a player, if it's on none, I get immediate control of the player. If it's on low, they take a few steps, then I get control of the player. If it's on high, they'll take even more steps and then I get control of them. You may ask, why wouldn't I want control right away? A good example of this, someone plays a through ball and you switch to the player and you don't hold your left stick properly in the direction, your player could just stop or go the wrong way. If it's on low or high, it'll guide you in the right direction and then you take control. For me, I want control of my player right away, but also like if a through ball is played, I should be running in the right direction anyway, so that shouldn't be an issue. And if somebody's, making a quick stop, turning, stuff like that, I want to be able to react as fast as possible. I want complete control, as responsive as possible. I don't want to be waiting a few seconds or second or anything like that to be able to get control of my player. So for me, none is the way to go. Right stick switching. Classic, player something here, rotation, and adaptive. Trust me, I didn't even know the name of it. It's so bad. Use classic. If you don't right stick switch, the setting doesn't really matter. I use my right stick to player switch. Switching reference, player versus ball relative. I have a full video on just this setting. Link in the bio. I'll put it in the description. Watch that. I'll show you the difference, what it is. If you don't use player relative, trust me, it's better. Might take some time to get used to. Again, if you don't use your right stick to switch players, the setting doesn't really matter for you. But overall, trust me on this, player relative is the way to go. Switching sensitivity, 4. Again, this one, I don't even think this one really even works sometimes, if I'm being honest. But if you don't use your right stick, it doesn't matter. Next player switch, classic. That's if you're using your left bumper. I think classic is the best one there. Player lock, this is an attacking mechanic. If you don't player lock, just turn it off. If you don't know how to do it, turn it off. If you use it, then keep it on. Again, sorry for the quick edit. Yoshi needs to buy a new camera. Anyways, it helps you create space. You can use it as a bait. You can use it to stop and fix a player's run. It can be very, very effective in the game. But if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I don't really use it that often. People ask me all the time, like, I don't really see you player lock. Is there a reason? I use it when needed. It's good in certain circumstances. You're going to see very good for creating space. But at the end of the day, it's not like you need to use the player lock. If you want me to show you guys how to do it, a big understanding, I can definitely show you guys. But for me, yes, if you know how to do it, keep it on. If you don't, like I said, it's really not a big deal at the end of the day. You're going to see I'm starting to mess around with it just to show you guys exactly what it looks like, how to do it and stuff like that. And the space creation. If you use it, on. If you don't use it, off, so you don't mess with yourself and accidentally do it and not expecting it or anything like that. Now, to get into the next thing, icon switching. Please do not turn this on. This is so bad. Just leave it off. I promise you, off. Contextual, grayed out. Orbit dribbling, off. This is the new mechanic where you can like move your player around the ball without touching it. Trust me on this. If you want to dribble good, turn that off. Save assistance. We're not playing pro clubs. And analog sprint, off. This is so you can sprint right away at 100%. If it's on, then depending on how hard you're holding your sprint button will determine how fast your player runs. I want to run it as fast as possible, so it's off. PlayStation, trigger effect, user vibration. You have these 2 additional settings. Turn them off. Also, if you're on PlayStation, I think you can go inside of your PlayStation actual settings and turn off vibration stuff. For me, off. Legacy, legacy, legacy. Yoshi's camera. Most people like tele broadcast, co-op, legacy. Personal preference here. Use what you like. 10 height, 0 zoom, 10 for the focus, 0 for the tracking speed, and the rest are 10. Like I said, personal preference here. Power shot zoom. If someone does a power shot, or if I do one, I don't need my whole screen to zoom all the way in. Messes me up. I don't like that. Turn it off. Again, personal preference. Now, some of these settings, they're not really going to matter too much. Again, a lot of this is personal preference. I will explain some of these, though, that I do like to have changed. So, player name, indicator, player name. I like to just see the player I'm using. Indicator size just makes it clear for me. Now, the big one here. Play style plus overhead indicator. This is so you can see on top of your head if your player is using technical or if he has like jockey trade or uses pinged pass. I don't need to know that, and I think it makes your game unstable. And there was a problem with it earlier in the year, so use it off. Player switch indicator. If you use your left bumper to switch, so go back to earlier when we were talking about the player switching, pay attention in this clip. The player I'm not controlling has a small arrow on the top of their head. You can see, so it'll tell me who I will switch to if I click my left bumper. You probably have a red cursor on your head. Mine's just yellow. Don't worry about that right now. But you can see the second player with the arrow on their head. It'll tell you who to switch to. Put it on. You want to know who you're switching to. Player-based difficulty, that doesn't matter. Hold the skip if you're loading into a game or something like that. Instead of holding it, if you turn it off, you can just tap the button. I have it on sometimes. Other accounts off. Doesn't really matter. These are all just personal preference stuff. Not really a big deal. Gamer tag. I don't really care to know who I'm playing against, to be honest. I just want to see the name of my player. That's just me. I just want to see who's controlled on the top of their head. Default. Ping and connection. I want to see if I'm lagging. I want to see how high my MS is in game. Input overlay. That's to see your controller on the screen. Hypermotion. There's a problem similar to the earlier setting I talked about where there was instability. I use it off. I want my game to feel as smooth as possible. And then this setting doesn't even matter. It's on, but it doesn't matter. Hopefully these settings make sense. Hopefully, if there's anything you need to change, you can copy mine. Hopefully it works for you guys. Like I said, let me know what you want to see. And as always, stay wiggly.